What up? Welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified podcast. Thank you so much for showing up today. And if you're looking to change your life for the better, if you want to work hard, launch a new product, build a business, impact the world, turn your passion into profit, you are in the right place, my friends. Because on this podcast, I've had on hundreds of guests at this point in time who've been eventually, at some point just struggling in their life, wanting to make a major change, whether that's building a new business, changing the trajectory of their career, launching something new into the world, and really having a brand which stands behind their craftsmanship and have been able to accomplish those dreams. They share with you on this podcast from the trenches exactly what they did to get funding from the crowd, how they were able to get a river of traffic and funding on websites like Kickstarter and Indiegogo and even equity crowdfunding websites to get investors out there for their business. So you are in the right place, and I commend you so much for getting access to that right information and also surrounding yourself with the right people. I started this podcast back in 2015 when I was living in New York City. And the reason why is that I was talking to so many people out there about what works in terms of getting funding from the crowd. And I started my blog, crowdcrux.com, back in 2012. And people were like, Salvador, really, Sal, is that actually going to work? Should I really do this? Does it take this long, or is this short in order to get funding? Is this actually possible? And what I realized was that the only way to share this with the world was for you to hear directly from the horse's mouth. You got to hear from those people that are right now in the trenches every single week raising funding. And that's a great way to, I think, surround yourself with those mentors and those people. So that way you can go out there with that confidence and you can also execute upon your projects and your dreams and your passions. Before we get into today's podcast interview, I do have a resource available for those of you who are interested in actually kind of putting this on light speed. If you want to really just skip to the finish line and you want to raise capital, whether that's on Kickstarter or Indiegogo, you want to be able to actually get funding from the crowd, you want to get validation for your product, get the funding you need, and also use this as a marketing exercise to get media attention and media logos and people talking about your product or your project, whether you're doing a physical gadget or a gizmo or a board game or something more creative. I have a great free course out there to help you along the way, which you can go and check out at crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter. That is a free course you can check out at crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter with some of the greatest resources, tools, tactics, and strategy to help you hit it big with your campaign. Again, crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter. And for those of you that are ready to invest in your education and when you get your hands on the #1 book out there when it comes to raising capital and getting people to fund your Kickstarter campaign, I have a great book where basically I put together the paint by numbers formula, the blueprint, if you will, to raise funding on Kickstarter. If you want to check that out, go to crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter audio. I'll include that link in the description at crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter audio. That link again is crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter audio, and you will get access to the Kickstarter launch formula. I think you're going to love it. But without further ado, let's dive into today's episode and let's discover how this entrepreneur was able to raise over $170,000 for their Kickstarter campaign, attract more than 690 backers, and you're going to hear about the duration of their pre-launch, how they were able to get funding, advice that they have for you, and how to stand out when it comes to your campaign. It's coming up right after this. Hey guys, welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified podcast. Today we are speaking with a creator who's been able to attract over 690 backers and raise over 170K on Kickstarter for a new way in which you can actually stay connected in silence. This is a great nifty product that allows you to make silent and confidential calls anywhere, anytime, no noise in, no voice out. And we have a member of the team here today with us. Thomas, welcome to the show.
Hi, hello. Thanks for having me.
Definitely, man. I'd love for you to fill in some gaps in that introduction and share with the audience a bit about your product and who it's for.
Yeah, sure. So, my job at Skyted is to work on financial topics. I'm not the CEO of the company as he's in business travel right now. But I work on financial topics, and in that I have also the crowdfunding campaign, which is quite new for me to run that. I already participate to one 3 years ago, it was for a new music instrument, which was quite interesting. So so I knew what was the purpose of the crowdfunding. What was the principle of that? So what we've done at Skyted is that we've definitely created a new market. We all have been trying to get call in crowded spaces, in trains, in cafe, and it's like quite complicated because there are like a lot of noise out there. So we created a solution to get calls everywhere that could be confidential, and so that's the good point.
Super cool.
Silent call. So you can it's basically a mask right now. So it's a hardware. It's a mask, and inside you have like a specific technology which is able to absorb your voice, and that absorb your voice so that your neighborhood do not hear you. And it works in the other way, meaning that the cafe environment do not goes into your call, because you have a microphone inside, and so it works in both ways.
Very cool, very cool. So would you consider yourself a project manager, a marketer? How would you really label yourself?
Well, I'm an engineer at the beginning. I used to work in aerospace environments, and most of us come from aerospace environments. From my side, I work at Airbus in Germany. It was in cabin innovation. We have also our acoustics R&D manager, which is who's a PhD in acoustics, and he also worked for Airbus as well for the aerospace industry. And our CEO, Stefan, is an ex-VP at Airbus. He used to work in Asia, so that was our common points. That's how it works.
Exciting.
So,
that's super cool. What made you decide to transition from like more of a corporate role to launching your own physical products, hardware products when it comes to that?
Well, I think it was more related to the impact that you can have in your company. It was great to work in such big companies because I learned a lot. But you have a lot of processes, and sometimes you want to run your own idea from scratch to the end, and it's like not possible because you face processes and issues related to that. So that's why I decided to join Skyted like 6 months ago now, and we were 7 people 6 months ago. Now we are 20 people, so it's going really fast.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
moving super fast. When it comes to the topic of crowdfunding, so you mentioned doing another campaign. Was it your idea to kind of use crowdfunding as a way to introduce it to the market, or was that something that was kind of already, the ball was already rolling when it came to that?
We discussed that together with Stefan and other team members, because we all have good and bad ideas, so we need to propose things. That's the first one of the first things we learn in startup. We all need, it's not we all can, it's we all need to propose solution and ideas. And it's definitely one of the best idea we've had, is to face quickly our market, so that we can have a really quick, a really fast feedback on our product. So we decided that together to go to that crowdfunding stuff.
So cool. Yeah, and I love the fact you're getting really quick feedback, and I do think this desire to escape a really crowded, noisy environment, I think that every business person, right, really empathizes with that pain point. So it's so great you developed this. What did it feel like the day before you went live with this Kickstarter campaign? What was kind of going through your head before you went live with this?
That's a really funny question, because I'll tell you why. The thing is that we launched on Monday. In the weekend before, like 1 day and 2 days before, I was still trying to manage my Kickstarter page. So I was running everywhere after some creative, some elements, some last financial things, some visuals, some information, technical information, because it goes really, it went really fast. So I was still doing my crowdfunding page like one day before. And this is linked to one of the things we really learn. You need to make it simple, really simple, because you need to explain how it's made, why it's made, and how it can help people to do things. In our case, to work or to communicate, to have calls. But you need to really have one product, and that's it. Because some weeks before.
So you were working pretty much the burning the midnight oil, right up until launch. And it sounds like a lot of that focus was around just simplifying it, right?
Yeah, make it simple. Weeks before, we had like too much options, too much features to explain. We have too much stuff, and so we decided like 1 day, 2 days before to make it really more simple. I think it works.
What was if you had to put a word on like the emotion that you were feeling? Were you feeling excited? Were you feeling scared? Were you feeling a sense of dread? Like, what were you feeling before you hit that launch button and really went live?
Well, it was quite. I would say both. It was quite scary because you hope you made your best to convince people, to explain how it works, because it's not that easy to explain people what you've done, because on your side you're already convinced that what you've done is really a good job, but you need to convince people about that. So I was scared about that. And in the other end, I was really excited to see how it goes. I was like, in the last hours, I was like, well, let's go. I just want to launch it and to make it fly.
So cool. Yeah, and I mean the fact that you're able to see people's real thoughts and they can kind of vote with their dollars, like it's both scary and a little bit intimidating, right? In that way.
Yeah, it is.
So talk me through like what did it feel like when you started to then have people back it, have people show up? What was that experience like that first week when you went live?
Well, it was really great. The thing is that we've built our community before. So we were at the CES in Jan. Like, we launched the Kickstarter the first day of the CES, during the first day of CES. So we had like a big spotlight on our project. So that was the really good point we had. And the thing was that you need to build that community to engage, and that's what happened for us. So it was really great, because you hope that it will go like that, and finally it went. So it was really good. And when we've seen that we had like in 24 hours, in the first 24 hours, 50K, 60K, I think it was 60K. So we were okay. The market is here. There is no, because you can have that at the first day. You go for, I don't know, maybe 5 units, and you say, okay, so the market is not here. I don't know what we are doing.
Yeah.
But so it confirmed the need of that.
I love that, and this idea of building your community. I love it. You could speak just a tiny bit more to that. So do you mean having people who are enthusiastic about air travel in terms of your community, or what did you exactly mean by that?
Building our community is more about introducing our product to the world. Say, hey, we are just a small startup in France, in the south of France, in Toulouse. And we've built something that could be interesting for you guys. And we started to explain what was our solution about, what it was made for, how it could help people. Because some guys, I mean, it's not made for everyone, and we see that on our social medias. It's still a mask, and not all of us want to wear that, and we are fine with that. But some of us really need to have calls, everywhere, anytime, because we are doing business. So we do not want to do that in the middle of the train, explaining why we want to fire an employee, why we want to close an important deal with financial stuff.
Yeah.
So some of the people
be on important podcasts as well, right? Of course.
Yeah.
So I totally get that. And when it comes to doing that, how long were you building your audience before you went live with this campaign?
We built it so we launched in Jan 2024, and we took some pre-order starting mid 2023. So between 6 and 8 months ago, we started that. Yeah.
I think a lot of people will listen to that and hear that and they'd be like, oh my gosh, like how could you keep someone's interest over such a long time? Or won't people be angry that they haven't gotten it yet, right? What do you say to when you get questions like that?
Yeah, you need to explain that is not that easy, especially in the Kickstarter stuff, because it's like 95% of the time it's hardware. So you have to to propose the best product with the best features and the best timing, of course. So that's quite a hard triptych to manage. But once you create the need within the customer minds, I think it's fine. You just need to update them, of course, not to disappear and come back 6 months later to say, hey, we are now on Kickstarter. But just update them once they are convinced. Just update them. It's more on that.
Got it. So it's kind of keeping people filled in and sharing with them where you are with the product development. Is it being that transparent?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
If you're worried about the fulfillment and shipping part of your Kickstarter campaign when it comes to getting out all those perks and rewards to your backers, rest assured I've put together a complete Kickstarter fulfillment and shipping checklist for you, and it's free. This is sponsored by the folks at Fulfillment, and they thought that you should have this checklist as part of your arsenal going into a crowdfunding campaign. If you want to get instant access to this checklist, and it's free, you can go to fulfillrite.com/checklist. Again, that is fulfillrite.com/checklist, fulfillrite.com/checklist. Just go to that link and you can download it immediately. It's so fascinating because I think a lot of people that are into e-commerce might be like, why would a customer care about like product development, right? Or why would they care about learning about those elements? Don't they just want to buy it? But it sounds like what you're saying is by sharing the craftsmanship and how it's made, people start to value it more.
Yeah, and everything could be understandable to people if you are, transparent. I mean, we did not just created a mask with, I would say, active noise reduction stuff like in those headsets, which is working quite fine for that. So that would have been a great idea, but we had a better idea. So what we've done is that we took a technology from aerospace. So it's basically a jet engine based technology that we've done it smaller and we integrated that into our mask. So it's quite a mechanical approach. So the absorption is done through the mechanical approach. And you have to explain that it's not that easy. I mean, it's a high-tech product.
And it's also one of those things where, from what I understand, it's also based on someone's voice, right? And making sure that it feels good, but it also functions. It's quite the challenge you guys have had.
Yeah, exactly.
In looking at your campaign page, the other thing that really stood out to me was just the massive amount of media publications that you've been on, my friend. Yeah. How did you manage to square that away? That's so cool.
Yeah, it worked very well for that. I mean, as a startup, we clearly do not have the budget we did not have expected that. So what we've done is that we participated in the CES 2023 last year with the first prototype. So just to say, hey world, we've just created a mask. And so this CES, like 1 month ago, we've said, hey world, we show you a mask last year, but here is the new one with the new features, with the new design, it has been really upgraded. What we've done is that we've worked a lot with our social medias. We have also 3 companies which help us for the CES to be sure that we have something really known by everyone. And when you go to the CES, our main point was the CES really, because we had like more than 450 articles and TVs and everything like that through the CES. And what we've done is that we moved to the CES with a team of, we were 9 at the CES, so it's a lot for a company, but we were 9 because it was the event of the year for us.
So it sounds like going to an in-person event where you can show off the product like CES or another conference can really pay off, right? If the media is there, because they can see it, they can see it work, and you can kind of build hype, right? When it comes to that.
Yeah, and being like 9, 10 people there, you can take the journalism like one-to-one. It's not like a big conference. Hey guys, everyone's looking at me. I'm gonna show you the mask. No. You take the journalist one-to-one, and then they have dedicated articles to write about you.
Yeah, 100%. In thinking about your other campaign compared to this one, how would you say that you feel? Is it you're both feel incredibly grateful and like you've accomplished a lot? Like, how would you say this one compared to your last one in terms of the way you felt about it?
Well, the one before, I just participated as a backer. So for you mean for the music instrument, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was a backer for that. I've learned one thing from the previous campaign. It was, you have to take care of the comments and really to spend times on that and to take that into consideration. So that was the main point. You have good ideas, but your community can have better ideas, and it's fine. I mean, you just take them into consideration. Maybe you're wrong about some choices, but it could be fine. Yeah, for an example, when we launched the campaign, so we proposed the mask with 2 options. The first one is you have a USB-C cable, so it's a wired one, and the other one is like a wireless, it's in Bluetooth. At the beginning, I've seen lots of people buying the wired one, so we decided to maybe to close the wireless. We were quite surprising, but yeah, okay, that's it. And yeah, the day after, we had a lot of comments saying, "Hey guys, I don't know why you closed the wireless one, because it's way more interesting. You need to be wireless." And we were like quite flying about that, but yeah, just listen to your community. So we reopened the Bluetooth perks, and so yeah, and finally at the end, we sold like 88%, I think, of the wireless masks.
Wow.
So just listen to your community. I mean, they are your clients.
Yeah, it's almost like crowdsourcing ideas, right? Because your community is giving you a bunch of feedback and a bunch of ideas, and those can naturally be better sometimes than what you can even think about yourself, right?
Yeah.
In really looking through your story, you've been able to transition from working at more of a corporate job to then launching your own product here and helping with that. What did this mean to you? Like, what was the most rewarding piece of the process, would you say, so far?
It's rewarding in many points. The first one is that you build something, I would say, with your hands, and then it comes to a digital community. And then today we have really advanced prototypes in our hands. So it's really, it's rewarding to imagine something, to have it in your hands. And then I'm really looking forward to having the first deliveries. So we're gonna do that by the end of this year. But it's to really have the end-to-end design to manufacturing to delivery process. You can see that in the entire way. So that's amazing. Yeah.
And the impact, it sounds like, that you're able to make is quite profound, right? Because now people all over can actually have phone calls wherever they want to go. They don't have to worry about noise as much. They can be in an airplane, they can be in the subway, right? They can be on a train, and they can actually have a good connection, right? When it comes to their staff and when it comes to the people that are their clients.
Yeah, definitely. And you don't really see how, you don't really see all the potential of the application through your innovation. I mean, in the comments, we had a lot of comments saying, hey, I'm a truck driver, and sometimes my mate is sleeping at the back, so I'd like to have calls. Do you think it could fit for that use? Another guy, hey, I'm running a podcast in a cafe. Do you think it could be a use case? So, and you're like, yeah, but I mean, there's way more use cases than what we thought at the beginning.
So like crowdsourcing those ideas, like we were talking about before, almost. And thinking about this, if you were to go back in time and to be able to give yourself one bit of advice before you start off with this process, what would you say to yourself? Was there any advice or a tip or something that you would tell yourself in order to be more successful? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I'd go for, the make it simple principle, saying that I would have slept the weekend before. But yeah, I think we really need to. I wish I would have really understand that before, that you have to sell one product with different prices, of course, if you come first or if you come at the end of the campaign. But make it the more simple it is, the much easier it is to understand.
In listening to your story, the other thing that really stood out to me was I think a lot of people who listen to this might be not from the United States or might be building a company that's international. You mentioned you're in the south of France, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like that has hindered your ability at all to be successful, or is that just something that people should ignore and plow ahead anyway?
Well, what we've done is that we have like subsidiary in New York. So on Kickstarter, it appears in New York for us. Because Americans want to buy I would say not American product, but something on an American platform. So that's why we've done that on Kickstarter. But from what I've seen, we had like a third of the sales in the United States, so it's not that much for Kickstarter, I think. A third in the United States, a third in France and the countries around, like Germany, like England, and a third in the rest of the world. So what we've done is that we've tried to make it clear. We are a French startup, but maybe it could be exciting because Toulouse is known for its aerospace industry, and we come from the aerospace industry. We are people coming from that, and we used in aerospace technology, and I think it was quite.
It almost played to your advantage. Almost sounds like.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Very cool, man. Is there a link, or where can I send people to learn more about your campaign if they're interested in trying out this new mask which you've developed to be able to do calls wherever they want? Where can they go to learn more about it?
Yeah, so we have our website, of course, which is skyted.io. So it's Skyted because for the explanation, the first use case we thought was to have like TED conference in the sky in the aircraft. So that's why it's Skyted.
That's dope.
Yeah, so it's Skyted.io. And we are now on Indiegogo, like in demand campaign, to continue to have like pre-orders on that. So yeah, just reach us on Indiegogo. You'll find it easily.
Okay, I'll be sure to link those up in the show notes. And I have one final question for you, and we can end the podcast on this note. So my question for you is, you can either end with a word of encouragement for other creators that are out there. You could end with a quote that you like that someone has told you or throughout the course of your career, or a final tip about crowdfunding. And we can end on that note.
Yeah. I would go for a quote. We have a quote from our CEO, which is massive for me. It's like, don't do questions and answers. I mean, you will have sometimes questions about the technology you're using. You will have questions. You will ask yourself about your community. What do you think it could be good for them? But rather than trying to figure it out what it could be good for them, you should ask them. I mean, they got answers. So you have questions and other people have answers. So yeah, don't do questions and answers at the same time.
Well said. Well said. Thank you so much for coming on the show, being super transparent, sharing lots of great tips, and look forward to seeing your success in the in-demand phase.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Crowdfunding Demystified podcast. Oh man, that was a treasure trove of information, golden nuggets of crowdfunding wisdom, which I hope that you then take and employ and really go out there and start taking some action. A lot of the times when we're first learning about something new, like crowdfunding or like how to launch a Kickstarter campaign, it can kind of feel like a puzzle, if you know what I mean. And to be honest, I'll be very transparent with you. I've always been really, really bad at doing puzzles. In fact, my mom, she actually used to put me in timeout and force me to do puzzles like crosswords, jigsaws, right? You name it, Rubik's Cubes. And it was something that I just absolutely hated doing, right? Even games like chess. I look at people who play the game of chess and I felt like I could just never win. I felt like my brain wasn't made for that game. I wasn't the smartest in the room. I wasn't the fastest when it came to computation. Like, I just felt like I could really never compete when it came to those kinds of games. And every Christmas, I'd play chess with my uncle. God rest his soul, great guy. He was like a father figure to me, but he would always beat me. And it was so freaking frustrating, right? I felt like I could just never get any better. I would always try and I just could never win. I felt like I just wasn't made to win at this game or to figure out this puzzle. Well, one day, I was at this used bookstore in Cambridge, Massachusetts. So Cambridge, I actually lived not super far away from Cambridge, Massachusetts. I grew up in Massachusetts, and it's really close to my heart. And I actually stumbled upon this book on chess strategy. Okay, so I was starting to leaf through this book. I was really surprised that there's actually a book out there teaching you how to play the game of chess, right? So I started to look through this book, and what I realized was that other people way smarter than me had figured out proven strategies, tactics, how to actually win at this game of chess. So lo and behold, I took the book home with me, right? I studied it religiously. And the next time I played my uncle at chess, I beat his ass in it was literally only a couple of minutes. It was like one of the coolest experiences in my life because I thought I sucked at this game. I thought I was horrible at puzzles. All I did though was read this book on chess strategy and tactics. And all of a sudden, it was like I was really good at the game, right? So at that experience, I had like a light bulb moment happen. And what I realized was actually something that's just really, really simple, which is that I didn't have to be the smartest person to win the game. I just had to study the hardest and also get my hands on the right information. If you've also felt that way in a certain area of your life, maybe it's attacking this crowdfunding thing or the Kickstarter thing, and you're like, I just don't get it. It doesn't make sense. I promise you, there is a proven path to success which you can follow. And I try to share that when it comes to the podcast, but also if you'd really like to skip to the finish line and you'd really like to just get this incredible reservoir of information and education that I have in my head in terms of what works and what doesn't in terms of campaigns. Should you even go with the crowdfunding thing? If you do, what's the right tactics and strategy you should be employing? Is there a way I can get help with this? If you're interested in really moving forward when it comes to this area of your life, I have a great option out there all for you, which is my individual one-on-one intensive coaching sessions. So this is where we basically book a session and I go through your entire strategy, all the tactics, talk about your project, get in depth with your specific category, and I share with you the solution, how to really hit this big or evaluate, is this even the right platform that you should be going with when it comes to crowdfunding? If that sounds something interesting to you, you can go out there and you can actually book an individual coaching call with me at the link crowdcrux.com/coaching. And we can get that call scheduled ASAP. Don't hesitate with this. You heard from today's guest, their pre-launch was 6 months, right? I can have a massive impact on anyone's project if I'm able to get in on the ground floor early. So make sure you go out there and you book your individual coaching call today at that link, crowdcrux.com/coaching. Hope you enjoyed today's video. And if you resonated with it, give me a positive rating and review on iTunes. Share this with someone who might enjoy it. Give me a thumbs up if you are listening on YouTube. My name is Salvador Briggman, and I will see you next time.